Hi everyone, good afternoon. Nice to meet you all, and thank you for joining us today. Today we are going to talk about a special topic, and we have a special guest. And we are going to talk about everyone talking about AI agents. And today we will learn about how to secure them and how to use them to scale our business. And my name is Oren Motola. I will be the moderator of this special event. I'm from the cybersecurity virtual group meetups. And before we'll start, I want to introduce myself. I have more than 12 years of experience in cybersecurity and information security. Today, I'm a cybersecurity architecture team leader in a very big company, finance company in Israel. We have Einat, the CISO at Lusha, and we have Marius Clark, and we have Ziv Yankovic. And we'll start with Marius' presentation about securing and build autonomous agents in the point of view of CISO. Marius, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm
Thank
looking
you very
forward to the
much.
presentation.
Thank you very much. I will give you remote control about my workstation, and feel free to jump into your presentation with introduce yourself. And thanks everyone again. And feel free to ask any question in the chat. We are available here to answer it. And thanks very much.
Thank you.
Mario, you have the permission.
Perfect. That's working. Thank you very much. So a little bit of introduction on myself. I'm Marius. I'm the CISO at Joven Talent. I've been CISO for the last decade, and I come into from a technical background and moved into a more strategic role in the last couple of years. What we'll be talking about today will be the autonomous agents from a CISO perspective. 1 second, the slides don't seem to be moving. Can you go to the previous slides? Who's moving? Because I don't have control.
No, no, you have the permission, Marius. Feel free. Will not touch anything.
Okay. Okay, perfect. He's moving now in the right direction. So,
Perfect.
so as a CISO, we experience a lot of different challenges. We come from a traditional kind of security environment. We have the traditional networking, traditional infrastructures. Everything was very traditional, and we had the controls. In this new era, when everyone can build agents themselves, the security, it's a bit of an unseen, and we lack a bit of visibility. So where in the past we had dedicated teams, engineering teams, building programs, building software, building integrations, we have now moved to any user being able to build and an automation. They're able to build an autonomous agent using AI. That has shifted to dedicated teams, to anyone in the business, from a simple user that's not technical, to be able to create those integrations, automations, and AI agents. So how do we, as a CISO, we have a big challenge. We have an uncontrolled or not autonomous execution where traditional controls are no longer in place. So we had an accelerated evolution of shadow operations. We had the shadow IT, which was using software that IT didn't control. We had cloud adoption. We had our users started to deploy applications in multi-clouds, and we have zero visibility. We started building controls around those and slowly caught up. And now we are in an era where we have shadow AI. We have a lot of encouragement from business owners to use AI. ChatGPT is one that's well known, and every user can go and add their own prompt and get their own answers, upload documentations. So we have a shift in governance where we had the traditional static identities, fixed interfaces, identity management that we can control our security. Now we are in an era that everything can be done from an end user perspective, from an autonomous perspective, and we have tokens that are embedded into chat prompts. We have prompt injections that we need to worry about. How do we control all this when we don't actually see what is happening on the cloud of the providers? Everything becomes a bit of a shadow AI. Again, I've lost control. There we go. So we end up having a big mesh where before we had the humans approve SaaS applications, we have IT security managing what's approved from a cloud perspective. Now we have a mesh of where is all this? We broke the traditional controls. Which agents exist? Do we know where the agents are? Before we had cloud environments, now we had cloud systems that we can monitor what servers we had. At this era, we don't know who can run agents because anyone can run agents. So we are in a point that our attack surface has grown exponentially. Now we are looking at different attack services, from the creation to the process to the interaction to the action of the actual agent. They're big black boxes, and our users are not governed. How do we prevent all this data loss? We are accessing the hostile internet. We can have prompt injections. We have runtime risk. How do we make sure that we get visibility into this? One of the risks that we have is embedding API keys into the actual prompts, static keys that we then share within the LLMs. Do we know that the LLMs are not going to leak that? We have seen in the past data leakage, even if the LLM is not supposed to be learning and getting trained by our data. It's easy to basically add the keys. Our users are now just taking API keys and just sending them into a prompt, becoming static within the prompts. How do we then govern all this? We are in an era that we have a lot of unknowns, and our enterprise are very adopting AI. So we have an issue with our identities. We have our traditional DLPs. So we became very good at detecting data leakages over the last 20 years. Now anyone could copy and paste something into an LLM. Just from a financial report, give me a nice dashboard. Can you summarize this confidential email? How do we look at the data leakage? Everything is becoming an agent in the browser, agents outside the company's perimeter, now getting copied, personal identifiable data, or even sensitive data. As a CISO, one of our crown jewels is our intellectual property, our PII, and sensitive confidential data. If that data then gets exfiltrated, leaked by an LLM, by users that are just looking to create smart-looking dashboards, that keeps me awake at night. This is one of my biggest concern when we are using LLMs as an enterprise is how do we use them internally, and how do we prevent our users to add data that we consider sensitive and confidential into the LLMs? We have this vector now of agents that you can also buy by agencies or marketplaces that could be using your data that you're uploading or leaking that data. So as a CISO, this is one of my biggest concerns when it comes to AI building. How do we prevent this leakage? How do we prevent the users from uploading our sensitive data? And then we have the agents that become autonomous and they can go out. Oh, sorry. Used to be a ghost managing presentation. So I will speak about the previous slide, which I can't seem to be getting up. But yes. So interaction. So here, how do each agent interact? Who's managing that interaction? Are we using agents that can write instructions, can read instructions off the internet? The internet is quite a monitored place. If one of our users is creating an agent that can browse a URL and someone can inject some code that makes the agent do a response to take over the functionality of the agent, that for me is one of the unknowns that we have in the industry. These agents are built to provide functionality, ease of use, and then we're using them to go out there and act on our behalf. We have trained our users how to be security aware. Do we train our agents how to be security aware? How do the agents understand what's malicious or not malicious when they are browsing and executing on our behalf? Do we have the right safeguards in place? That's some of the questions as a CISO I'm asking when we are building this agent. But again, how do I know that my team is building these agents? We need to provide awareness to the agents, but also to the users that create those agents. So as a CISO, we have a lot of areas that we need to look at when it comes to the AI. One of my biggest fear when it comes to the AI is the visibility. Do I know where the agents are? I can't secure any agents unless I know where they are. I can't provide controls. I can't make the agents be aware of what they're executing unless I know where the agents are. So I can add those controls and train the teams that are building those. Then we have the prompt injection. How do I prevent the data loss from the prompt injection, from actually users adding the PII, but also the agent exfiltrating the PII from a database and then being able to send them in an email? We have the identity governance. Up to now, we have managed the identity very well. We created Samuel by Enterprise. We created SSOs. We created key vaults. We created identities that are ephemeral. When it comes to AI agents and web agents, at the moment, in the industry, there's not a lot of traction on how do we manage identities that the agents are using. We normally provide the agent an API key to our internal databases, or this could be an API key that has the keys to the kingdom, and then we kind of forget that that agent has that access. So how do we go forward is, do we create identity governance for the AI agents? Do we create a protocol as an industry that the AI agents will be able to manage credentials? And then also, where do we run these agents? Is the our environment? Is it an environment that a provider is managing? I've seen a lot of providers that has been build your agents on our environment. And who manages that security? Is it the CISO's responsibility now? Or does that shift to the CIO? Or does that shift to the COO? Because those are the individuals that are controlling which agents are getting built. We don't have the visibility of the environments, the runtime, and where do these agents sit and what they have access. So we have a lot of fragmented risk, and we have a lot of fragmented architecture. You won't find an agency or AI agent which is built in the same way. There's a lot of technologies, there's different LLM models, there's different ways of actually retrieving information from an LLM and an agent. How do we create and secure these layers? I'm bringing a lot of questions because at the moment, That's the sort of questions that keep me up at night. And I'm finding it hard to kind of navigate the landscape when it comes to the security of these agents. So we need to start deploying governed digital workers. These agents need to have some governance. We need a methodology to be able to detect agents in our environment, detect their workload and workflows that they're creating, but also make them input ourselves in a way that we can be the advisors of what agents also should exist in our environment. As a security, we have a lot of data that sits within our SIM tool. We collect a lot of data from our secure browsers that we are able to provide the company some feedback of what agents should be being deployed, how they should be working, how we should be securing them. So one of the things as a CISO of a large organization that I have to navigate, it's all these questions that I have that I don't really have answers to, most of them. I can't be a blocker to the business. So just because I don't have the answer, that doesn't necessarily mean I have to be a blocker. I need to be an enabler. Our CEO says, if you don't adopt the AI, you'll be left behind. And a lot of companies will be left behind if they don't adopt AI. So how do I adopt AI? How do I enable the company to adopt AI and being able to have governance? One of the things that I did to be able to get some of these answers is I injected myself into the AI and automations team. I decided that I want to take ownership of where we deploy our agents. And the security team now that I manage is responsible for the environment. So we build them an environment that we control with security that they are able to deploy some agents. We use automation tools and we are providing them some governance. We are monitoring PRs to that environment. Anything that agent that goes into production, we are able to kind of apply some governance around it. We also partnered with Secure Browser company that is able to provide us what our users are feeding into, what SaaS applications are they accessing, what automations can we create around that. So we have created as a CISO a partnership with the whole business to be able to inject ourselves, to also be able to optimize the workload by providing them what agents they should be building, but in a very secure way. And that brings me, just 1 second. And this brings me to my final slide. So as a CISO of the company, as I mentioned, that it's very AI centric. We have built AI agents that do recruiting of blue-collar workers. We do about 2 million interviews using AI. And then we have AI agents that also provide feedback to the workers. And so we have different personas of our AI agents that we use in a company. Our CEO pushes every team to use agents to optimize the workload. And one of the war stories that I have is working with agencies that provide building of AIs, agents. You go to these AI agencies, you tell them what you're trying to automate, what you're trying to fix, how do you create those workflows, and they come back and give you an agent to deploy. One of the questions in the initial discussion that we had was, okay, where does security sit in your development of these agents? Very, very quickly, the answers were, we don't actually consider security at this stage. We don't secure your PII data. We think it's your responsibility. So these agencies would have been browsing our internal stores of databases. They'd be taking a PII and transferring them to another site. So they'd be handling sensitive PII data of our customers. They'd be handling PII data of our clients, but there was no security in mind. Some of the questions, how do we audit what the agent is doing? They had auditing on what on the technical level, but not on the data level, on the security side. That placed me in a very difficult situation. And the question, as I see, so that popped into my mind is, how do I navigate this risk? Do I accept this higher risk for the business to be an enabler? Do I compromise my security standards? Or do we push the industry to start offering higher, better security standards when it comes to web agents? At the moment, the industry, they're doing a very good at building the agents. They're very good at building the functionality that you want, but there's zero security thought when it comes to how do we make sure these agents that we are building are secured. My conversation with a particular web agency was, at this moment of stage, we are so busy providing functionality that security is not even in the forefront of the discussion. And most of our clients don't ask for security. So that kind of shocked me that we are in an era that security is not considered anymore in high projects that deal with sensitive data. We are back, I think, 20 years to starting to, again, having to find a way to mature. How do we do security in this AI-driven era? I think that's my presentation. A lot of questions, but hopefully the next sessions will provide some of the answers on how do we navigate this new risk.
Marius, thanks very much for your useful insights. We have a question from the crowd from Dvora. I will read it for you. Is there a way to identify AI agent working on your network if they aren't disclosed by a human who deployed them? A very good question, and I think you talked a little bit about it, and it's a really good question, how we defend and how we protect the shadow agents that the DevOps that created them didn't tell you something like this.
So, like I mentioned before, as a security team, we have a lot of data, and hopefully we have that security controls in place. One of the ways that we started to try to detect is similar to how we used to detect shadow IT. We started working with a secure browser. Most of the agents that are getting built using web at the moment. That's our biggest concern. Our developers know the guidelines. We monitor the GitHub environment, but we started to use secure browsers that can provide us insight into who is browsing AI website, who is using AI web agents, what workload is involved around those agents. So we are using a lot of our tools, and especially the secure browser, to provide us that insight to be able to then create an inventory of AI agents that exist in our network.